Whenever you're ready.
Alright. Okay. So just the other day, I was walking by the restroom in my house, and I heard the faucet running. And it turns out it was my brother in the restroom. So I tried telling him, "Can you just turn off the water? You're wasting so much water." Because I know he wasn't washing his hands. He was just leaving the water on so no one could hear him do his business. So then, after he was out of the restroom, I tried convincing him, like, you have to stop wasting so much water. Like, you're just wasting water. And then, but I didn't get to convince him. He was kind of stubborn. So in order to counteract his water usage, I decided to lower the amount of water I use daily. Like, I wouldn't leave the water on when I was brushing my teeth, or I wouldn't use the hose to wash down the driveway. Instead, I would just use the broom, just remove the leaves. So, for those of you who don't know, California is in danger of using up most of its usable water supply. And also, Southern California is known to be a dry and arid place. It is a desert or chaparral. And that means water is going to be a very valuable resource for California. So, I propose that conserving water is the most reasonable solution for our water problems in California. First, I'll go over why Californians need to conserve water, the ways to conserve water, and the alternative solution to conserving water. So first, let me elaborate on the growing problems California has with water. To give an idea of how much water is being used, let's look at the Colorado River, which supplies 7 states in the US. According to Smithsonian Magazine, at Lake Mead, which is the lake the Colorado River flows into, it has edges where you can see the lines in the rock walls that make a distinct bathtub ring, showing the water level, which is far lower than it once was, some 130 feet lower, as it happened since 2000. Water resource officials say some of the reservoirs fed by the river will never be full again. This means the demand of water is actually greater than the amount the Colorado River actually produces and could actually naturally recover from. Another example of the decline in the water, usable water level was posted in 2009 by NASA, and it's stated by Professor J. Famiglietti of UC Irvine. He states, combined, California's Sacramento's and San Joaquin's drainage basins have shed more than 30 cubic kilometers since late 2003. A cubic kilometer is about 264.2 billion gallons, which is enough to fill 400,000 Olympic-sized pools. So that means in 6 years, we've used up 12 million Olympic-sized pools. California's sources of water are running low, and it'll take a while for it to recuperate. So we need to actually slow down and conserve our water. This is why Californians need to watch what they're doing. Next, I would like to go over the ways you could conserve water. According to LA Times, the California Water Plan Update estimates that up to 1/3 of the current urban usage could be saved each year with existing technologies. This includes installing efficient sprinklers and drought-tolerant landscaping, expanding the use of water meters, and upgrading estimated about 10 million toilets that were installed prior to the 1990s. I understand that some of you aren't willing or aren't able to make these changes in your households, so I'll go over the ways that are cost-efficient and cheap. The easier ways and simple ways to conserve water are like, don't use the water when you're brushing your teeth, or using the restroom or showering only when you aren't rinsing your teeth, hands, or body respectively. Gardeners.net claims that the daybreak or just before dawn is the best time to water your lawn, since evaporation is at its minimum, since the sun won't be up. And according to Public Policy of California, over the next 25 years, outdoor water will be the major factor in escalating water demand in California. This supports the idea that California is like trying to make a desert into a garden, and we need to conserve our water. An alternative solution to conserving water is converting water. Like, since everyone knows we're right by the Pacific, some people may ask, why don't we just use the ocean water and convert it into usable water if we're having so much problems with water? It's a possible solution, but it's not really efficient. This is because, according to the New York Times, the San Diego County Water Authority has agreed to buy at least 48,000 acre-feet of water for a desalination plant, which is a plant that removes salt from ocean water. and it costs about 2,000 a foot, an acre foot. And basically this means that it'll provide 326,000 gallons of water for which only provides for 2 families of 4 for a year. And as it accumulates, it'll end up being $3 billion over 30 years for only 7% of San Diego's, the county of San Diego. And another example is why desalination plants aren't really efficient, is that it actually costs a lot to make a desalination plant. For instance, in the New York Times, it says, in regards to desalination plants in Texas, it expresses how expensive it is to make a desalination plant. And it says, the state's largest is in El Paso, which costs $91 million, the K. Bailey Hutchison desalination plant, which was completed in 2007. It could supply up to 27.5 million gallons of water a day, which sounds really good, though it doesn't operate at its full capacity all the time because of the high energy costs associated with forcing water through a membrane to resembling a parchment to take out salts. Production of desalination water costs 2.1 times more than fresh groundwater and 70% more than surface water, according to El Paso Water Utilities. So the main problem is with these desalination plants is that it costs too much to make, it costs too much to run through the water, because it costs energy to make the water run through and filter out. So all the costs you put into it, it doesn't produce as much water as you would expect. So this is why using desalination plants in the Pacific Ocean for water resource isn't the best. So to conclude, the problem regarding water shortage in California is increasing, and California should be made aware and should take action. We should be aware of the lower water levels in California and in our reservoirs and water resources such as the Colorado River. And conserving water is more efficient than converting water due to pricing and time. I hope that I was able to enlighten you and make you think twice about leaving the faucet on.
So Taylor, what did you think?
I thought it was a nice intro with the story about your brother wasting the water. Your thesis was clear, that California is in danger of losing water supply. You previewed your main points. That was good. You used sources, provided examples. You showed why conserving water is more efficient than converting. Yeah, and then 2 suggestions for improving it. I don't know, this is something I need to work on myself too, which is walking the transitions. I think that's very effective because at that speech tournament, these guys know, like, the people that advanced were the ones that, they like walked the transitions. They looked really like professional, and those are the guys that like progressed. Like, I didn't pass to the next level because I kind of just stayed in one spot. But yeah, so we all need to work on walking the transitions. That'd be good. But yeah, it was a good speech.
Alrighty, pretty reasonable suggestion. I'll tell you what, I'll start with a couple of delivery things also. The big pages in your hand are a little distracting, and you know, it's really kind of unfortunate because most of the time you do a pretty good job looking at the audience and talking to us, and so if you could just get away from the crutch of having to have that, I think that you'd be a really effective speaker. As I said, it's mildly distracting. It wasn't a huge issue, but it's one of those things that it just draws attention to the fact that you are having to work at giving the speech instead of just talking to us. And I think that would go a long way to building some credibility. I thought the speech was very well put together. You had excellent information about the problems with water. You had a nice visualization there about Lake Mead and like it being a bathtub going down. I agree. I like the attention device, the story about your brother running the water just so people don't hear him going to the bathroom, that kind of thing. Say, come on, really, dude, let's save some water. And you're saying, well, I'm going to compensate for it. I think you need to talk a little bit more about the things that people can do to do that conservation. You suggest, you went through a very quick list at one point of things that are going on that maybe people are not willing to cooperate with, and then you make a couple of other suggestions, but that was a small portion of the speech, and it seems to me like there's got to be some more stuff that people could do that doesn't necessarily require the big changes that are going on, but the little changes. And you just, not running the water while you're brushing your teeth is probably just not going to save that much water. I don't know, calculate, and most of the water that gets used in California is for agricultural purposes, and so individual consumer reduction of water is important. I'm not going to diminish that, but how much can we save? That's what you have to give us some idea about what these little actions would do to save water in the long run. Make it seem like it's really more than just a drop in the bucket. Okay. And it was pretty well organized also. I'll tell you what, the only thing that I didn't like about the way the speech was put together was when you do the preview on your secondary points, the labels on all the secondary points sound very mechanical. They're not elegant. They ought to be interesting sentences, not just labels. And it felt like it was, I'm going to put a marker on it, and that's it. And that's as far as you thought about it. And if you'd done something a little bit more carefully phrased, I think it would be a little more interesting. All right, thank you.